Hey guys, Blaine Upton here. We out here on Lake Murray today. There's about 6 or 7 of us that have put in today, and there's a bunch of us out here fishing around and just kind of hanging out and fishing for fun for once instead of putting all the money on the line. But one thing that I'm getting to try today that I'm very excited about is the Motorguide XI3 with pinpoint GPS, and man, let me tell you, this is going to change everything. I've got the heading lock on right now as I'm heading towards a bank that I wanted to fish, and as you can see, like if you watch it, it will adjust with the wind and just lock itself and head right to where I want to go. I don't have to touch anything, and that is at a touch of a button. This is an awesome thing, man. I mean, I just can't get over it. It's just, I spot locked earlier right on top of a tree and sat there and fished it for 15 minutes. And I mean, I'm telling you, what you can do breaking down this kind of structure and in the wind and getting those extra few casts in there can get you those extra bites. So just kind of showing off because this is awesome, and you know, very proud of it. Using the pinpoint GPS function, I was able to find a school of bait and lock on top of it to where I hooked my first fish of the day. Good little striper. After that came the first largemouth. First fish using spot lock right there. $16.5. Combination just catches fish. So upon boating the first fish, he spit up a crawdad into the bottom of my kayak, about a 3-inch long crawdad. So crawdad had some red in it, so I grabbed the nearest worm that had red in it. It was a Southern Custom Plastic Baits trick worm, emerald green with a little bit of red flake to it, black worm. Moved to the next dock to see if that was going to be the deal. Immediately started getting bit, so I knew I had found something. There he is. There he is. That's 2 right here. Number 3. Oh, I got the whole thing on video, both catches.
Nice.
A flurry.
That's a little thick one.
Yeah, little chunky monkey. Alright, so we're wrapping up the day. Caught a few today. It was tough. First thing in the morning, had some schooling action. Caught a couple of striper and good largemouth, and rolling on over, and once the sun got up was really when I found the bite that put a couple fish in the boat for me. I ended up putting 3 in the boat once the sun got up, and that was only, I don't know, a couple hours ago. But anyways, so what I was doing is fishing shaky head on docks. I know that sounds really simple and really dumb, but there's just a couple things you want to look at. One is forage. That really goes into determining color presentation, because you can fish 1,000 docks and it gets really frustrating when you fish all these docks and there's nothing biting, and then dude behind you tweaks something on one of his little baits, and next thing you know he starts smacking them behind you on the same thing you're throwing. I mean, it gets frustrating. So a couple things that I've noticed. I like the ball style shaky heads, the no spring. I get better hookup ratios without spring. Fish with a Southern Plastics trick worm, 6-inch. It's got that emerald flake with a little bit of red to it. The reason I started throwing that bait today was because I had one spit a crawfish up in the boat, and that little bit of red to it just gives it just that, you know, just that touch. And it ended up doing the trick for me, and I caught a couple fish doing it. Favorite setup for doing this is a spinning rod, obviously. I got 7-foot medium, Lew's Mach 2. One of my favorite reels. Lew's absolutely makes the best reels on the market. Every rod I have has one on it. So, outside of that, all I was doing was taking my Motorguide XI3, putting it on anchor mode and sitting right off the ends of the docks, and I noticed that I started catching fish both on the fronts and back sides of the docks, and I can assure you in one of the videos you'll see I catch 2 fish off one dock in a little flurry, and one's at the front side and one's at the very back side, so it just kind of showed me that they were just setting up using that whole dock as an ambush point. There's a lot of bait back here, and we ended up having a decent. Beating docks with a shake head, not exactly rocket science. Usually I target the ones that have the floating platform at the end, that have the posts that go all the way to the bottom. If you can find the wood posts that go all the way to the bottom, those are what usually the fish will be sitting on. Now, I'm not going to say I haven't found them under the floating portion or under the walkways before, but generally if you can find which posts they're sitting on, you can replicate it dock to dock, especially if you find a hot stretch. So beating docks with a shaky head, everybody does it. It's something that if it's real tough, everybody seems to go right at, and it's because it produces. I mean, especially with these finesse plastics. I mean, this was a Southern Custom plastic bait trick worm that I used today. Emerald flake and a black worm with a little bit of red in it. Little 3/8 ounce weight, 3/8 ounce shaky head. So we were just picking docks that had the floating portions, like I said, with the solid beams. That was where the fish were sitting. And like I said, I've filled out a lot of limits doing this, and especially with this color worm. This color worm's been really good to me this year. I've put a lot of fish in the boat with it, especially on Lake Murray. But anyways, like I said, thank y'all for watching. I'm Blaine Upton Kayak Fishing, Team NuCanoe, Team Paddle South Outfitters, Team Southern Custom Plastic Baits. Tight lines, everybody. Y'all have a good one.